Okay, this is for facilitators or anyone who cares about running meetings well. Whenever you have a meeting or a workshop, no matter how perfectly you plan things out and try to estimate times of how each individual agenda item will, how long they'll take, and all that fun stuff, no matter what your plan is, when it actually comes time to running through the session and doing it live, things will not go according to plan. People will talk longer about things than you're expecting. Exercises will take longer. Whatever it is, the plan will fall apart. So, what if there was a way for you to notice when you had to take an action to shorten a future item in the agenda or to drop some items altogether? How could you stay aware of how time was being used over the course of the meeting or the workshop in a way that allowed you to take action early and set new expectations as the meeting is unfolding so that one, people know what isn't going to get covered, and two, so that you end on time, which is honestly really, really important. So what we have here is a session plan, and we set our session length. So here I'll say it starts at 12 p.m., ends at 2 p.m. So we'll do like a 2-hour session, and then what you'll see here is that there are 3 items by default, 3 15-minute segments, and then everything that's left gets thrown into a buffer. And the idea is that we want to keep some amount of time to absorb uncertainty as the meeting or workshop unfolds. So I'll just add a couple more items here. And as you can see, as I'm adding those items, they're getting subtracted from the buffer. And here I'm going to do a very, very conservative session plan with 6 15-minute items and a 30-minute buffer, and that totals up to 2 hours. So here's how this works. As you go along with your agenda, you keep track of when things actually started to contrast that against when you planned to start it. So for example, if we start things off with, people joining late, let's say, so you wanted to start at 12 p.m., but instead you had to start at 12:06 because people joined late, you'll notice how this cascades all the way through the rest of the agenda items and pushes them out. Now this is happening whether or not you have a fancy app like this, right? Like when something gets delayed, the entire rest of the agenda gets pushed out. But what we're going to do is we're going to pay attention to this buffer here. You notice on the left that it said 30 minutes, and then now on the right it says 24 minutes of that 30 minutes is left. So what this means is we can pay attention to that buffer, and as that goes down closer and closer to 0, we can notice when it's time to act or whether it's even an issue at all. So here, I'll just kind of play this out. Let's say the first item goes a little long. So not only have we started late, but we're also going to have a long first agenda item. So it's going to end at 12:30 instead of 12:21. So that means the second item will start at 12:30 instead of 12:21. Here we go. And so now you can see we've eaten even further into our buffer. There are only 15 minutes left to absorb any further uncertainty. And so now we have a message that, hey, maybe we should keep an eye on this because we're getting close to consuming the whole buffer, which means once it's consumed, any additional agenda items are going to basically push you past your meeting end time, and that's no good. So we keep playing this out. Let's say the second item goes long, and by the time we get to our third agenda item, it is 12:55. Okay, so now what you can see here is we are 5 minutes left in our buffer, and it's time to act. We have to do something, because if we play this all the way out, and there continues to be further slips in the schedule, then we're going to be going beyond our meeting start time. Now, if, for example, this started even later, let's say this was 1:05 p.m. Let's do 1:06 p.m. here. Now what you'll notice is now you've expended the entire buffer, and now we're overrunning by 6 minutes. And so we're in the danger zone. There's no way this is going to work out well. So what you can do in the moment is you can say, okay, can we limit the time for any of the future items? So basically reshuffling the intended session plan on the fly, just like this. So maybe I could say, okay, I can get back, we only need 5 minutes for that last item, so maybe I'll set that duration to 5 minutes. And now we're back into a zone that's acceptable. We only have 4 minutes left in our buffer, so it'll be tight, but it might be doable. But the other thing we could do too is we could actually just remove an item and say, hey folks, we're not going to get to that last one. And now we have 9 minutes in our buffer, and that way we have 9 minutes to absorb any uncertainty that comes up in the following agenda items that have yet to come. And you know what? It's better to end early than to end late. So this is just a way to keep things rock solid. So this is called KeepTime, at least for now. And if you're interested in learning more about it, or if you want to give it a shot yourself, drop me a DM and I'll send you a link. Again, I think this is for facilitators or anyone who is running sessions where a lot of people's attention are at stake. We need to make sure that we're ending on time and using the time well. So facilitating meeting and workshops, this is a useful tool. It's informed by critical chain project management concepts. This buffer concept comes straight from there, which is it's a whole like theory of constraints approach to project management. Definitely worth learning about. But if you have any questions about this, let me know, and I would love to show this to you and see if it's useful. All right, thank you.